Welcome to the Sci-Fi Invasion. I'm your host, Joey Hollywood, and I'm trying to get through all 50 movies in the Sci-Fi Classic movie box set from Mill Creek in 50 weeks. The movie I watched today was called The Incredible Petrified World from 1957. Right off the bat, this movie starts off with narration, which is not a good sign when you have these movie packs, because typically if it starts off with a lot of narration, the rest of the movie is going to be that way too. It's going to be like The Creeping Terror. This movie kind of escapes that a little bit. There's a little bit more going on, but the moment the movie started, I was like, oh boy, here it comes. There's a quite lengthy bit of narration at the beginning. It's all about science stuff, not plot stuff, science stuff. About like glowing fishes in the sea and things like that, like the deeper you go. And it's all informational. And then you find out very quickly, like after all this narration, you find out, oh, that was a lecture at a campus. Might have been a better way of establishing a lot of this information, but what are you gonna do? One thing I love about these old movies from this time period is just how shamelessly sexist they are. There's a guy in it who keeps on referring to a reporter as that lady reporter. There's almost like a quaintness to it, I feel like if that was in something now, there'd probably be a lot of outrage. But there's a quaintness to the sexism of the time, and it's funny to me. I don't know. But yeah, there's these characters. There's the lady reporter and another woman who I'm not quite sure what role she fills in this science research team. But they basically put all these people in a bell. They keep on calling it a bell. It's like a submarine, but they lower it down. And they're trying to get as far down as possible so they can do research. And along the way, the cord or whatever, it gets cut and the bell falls to the bottom of the ocean with all the people inside. John Carradine is the scientist that's running this operation, and he thinks that everyone died. So he's up on the boat like freaking out, and he's like trying to figure out what went wrong. And there's a whole subplot that's honestly more interesting than the main plot of the story, which is the people stuck at the bottom of the ocean. They swim into an underground cave network that has oxygen, and they come to terms with the fact that they might have to live down there. And that sounds really interesting in theory, but it's a lot of just walking around in caves and then revisiting places you've already been. Like they go back to the bell, the underwater bell, and go back and then forth and back and forth. One of the more interesting elements that happens in these caves is they come across a man who has been there for 14 years. And he's crazy. He's killed the person that he was trapped there with. He wants to take one of the women as his own, and he wants to kill everyone else and keep one of the women. And you'd think that's interesting, but it's like the moment it's introduced, it's quickly done away with. And for some reason, the men leave the women alone with this crazy guy after meeting him, and that's when it's revealed that he's nuts. But it's clear that he's nuts. Someone should have been left there with the crazy guy. But it's whatever. Eventually, John Carradine finds his brother who has a bell as well. I'm a poet and didn't know it, but he also has a bell that can be lowered in the ocean. And John Carradine's already given up on these people. He thinks they're dead, so he just wants to go down there and see what the heck happened. And through this interaction, they save the people under the water. There's an earthquake. It's a standard B movie of the time. It has a more interesting premise that it is underwater for the most part, but they don't really feel like they take advantage of that too much. Overall, this movie was not a chore to watch. It was just a little over an hour long. I enjoyed it. I thought it was some fun, good little time waster. And I think this was a pretty good one to start this series off on. Yeah, I feel like that's all I really have to say for now. It's a shorter video, but it was a shorter movie. Anyways, I look forward to seeing you next week. Remember, please be kind and rewind.